Hi everyone, my name is Injae Park and I'm a Power BI developer who just happens to have 60,000 followers on LinkedIn. The company Fab Icon has placed me as top 2,000 of LinkedIn creators worldwide and rank number 6 in LinkedIn influencers in South Korea. And today I want to show you how I approach LinkedIn as a data professional and how you can as well. When it comes to LinkedIn, the most important thing is your purpose. Why are you using LinkedIn? If you're just trying to have an online CV, then what you want to do is make sure you have proper keywords in your tagline, in your about section, and in your experience people. If you're trying to gain lots of followers, then what you want to do is make sure that your content is valuable. Value in your content is non-negotiable unless you already have a bit of a following. If you post something that says, hey, I just got a new job, you'll get a lot of well-wishers, that's true, but it won't have that much reach. Reach happens not because something is interesting, reach happens because people actually engage with it. Instead of looking at your impressions, start looking at your engagements. In your engagements, the things that are most important really, in my opinion, is saves and sends. Is your content something that other people want to see later on in the future or send to someone else that it might help? That is the number one thing that you can do to make sure that your content reaches more people. Of course, this goes hand in hand with getting other people to actually engage with your product. So if you're a business and you want other people to engage with your product, then that means that they have to engage with your links. And my link, for example, goes to, it's like my online, it's like education platform. However, if I was any other company, the main thing that I would try to do is to build trust on my content, that the service that I provide is something that's actually worth their time and money. The number one mindset shift to actually doing better on LinkedIn is that the algorithm does exist, yes, but what the algorithm does is it tries to emulate the audience. You are building an audience by creating content for a specific type of person, and if you try to create something for everyone, your audience is going to be too broad to actually engage with your content. So you want to pick a niche, engage for them specifically, and don't be upset if your content doesn't do well. Don't blame the algorithm and say, the algorithm didn't like my post. More likely than not, your audience didn't like your post. So figure out who you're speaking to, who you're providing value to, and just do that consistently and you will grow. Social media in general, but LinkedIn as well, groups people into different clusters based on similar interests and behaviors. So when you post, LinkedIn shows your content to a small group of people who've already engaged with your content. And then they'll probably show it to people who engage with other people similar to your content. And once that happens, then it can slowly grow and grow. But LinkedIn always does this with all posts. So that's why you might have a lot of engagement, but very, very few people have actually seen it. So you go to a post and a lot of engagement, but maybe it's only got like a couple thousand impressions. Impressions are important because they show you how many different people have seen the actual content, but not that many people may have engaged with it simply because the audience that it was shown to was not the right audience for that content. That essentially means you need to build your audience and niche down as you can, but still as wide as you're willing to go in order to grow. My content is for Power BI developers, specifically for visualizations and AI related content, and that's done well for me so far, but I have had to pivot several times in my journey as well. And finally, this is how I make a post. Generally speaking, in the text, I just want to, let people know this is what the topic is about. This is user-defined functions in Power BI. And I will ask a little question here or there as a call to action for people to engage with the post. But a lot of my content that I've specifically done is I try to provide value with showing actual things. This here is a proof of concept of a user-defined function that is creating an SVG card very, very quickly. And one of the things that it has worked really well for me is that if you post GIFs that's, it's like autoplay when people are scrolling through, it can be very eye-catching. And because I do a lot of visualization items, it's really nice to look at. However, one of the things that I want to point out here is that inside of the analytics, 161,000 impressions have been made. That doesn't equate to one person per impression. It's more like 100,000 people, and some of those people have seen the actual post more than once. If you are, it's like more interested in what's, it's like important, is also like you can go to the actual post analytics of even just a specific item, like the reactions, and you can see what kind of people actually engage with your items, what kind of industries, what kind of seniority, and that's all well to be able to tell what your audience cluster is. There's a lot of different, it's like tools that LinkedIn gives you in order to actually, it's like find out who you're creating content for and who will actually pay attention to when you post specific kinds of content. I really hope that you've learned a little something from this bite-sized overview of how I use LinkedIn. Thanks for watching. Take care.